Seats, we're going to start. I'm Bill Hynes, the president of Holy Names University, and I'm delighted to welcome all of you to the final Oakland Mayoral Debate hosted here at Holy Names. Special thanks goes to our co-sponsors, the League of Women Voters and the Bay Area Black Journalists Association. Thank you both for your continuing commitment to open political debate. I extend a warm welcome to each of our candidates. Thank you for caring so much about the future of Oakland and for running for the position of mayor. Holy Names University is deeply dedicated to diversity, social justice, and civic engagement, especially in the city of Oakland, the Bay Area, and California. Founded by a group of French-Canadian sisters on Lake Merritt in 1868, the Sisters of Holy Names of Jesus and Mary initially educated young women. Almost a century later, having outgrown their facility at Lake Merritt, in 1957 they sold it to Henry Kaiser and constructed their current campus here on this site. In 1971, Holy Names went co-ed. In 1981, it started the first weekend university for returning students. Today, Holy Names University has 1,216 students, over 700 undergraduates, and over 400 graduate students. 50% of our students are first generation in their family to go to college. U.S. News and World Report consistently cites us as in the top 5 most diverse universities in the West. But civic engagement is in our DNA. We expect our graduates to give back to the common good in their community. Here is a brief sampling of how some of our graduates are engaged. Yesterday, Sister Cynthia Canning reopened the new and improved Next Step Center for Literacy and Learning at Curtis Street and West Grand. Judy Goff Raveda is the past president of the Alameda County Labor Council. Steve Borg is Senior Vice President and Corporate Marketing Director for California Bank and Trust. Helen Raines Austin is the founder of Cocoa Corner, a youth programming nonprofit organization. Miguel Bustos is Commissioner for the City and County of the San Francisco Redevelopment Agency. Dr. Kimberly Mayfield is Associate Professor of Education here at Holy Names and member of the Effective Teachers for Oakland Task Force. And Carol Corrigan is Justice of the California Supreme Court. And in the audience this evening is another generation of Holy Names students who you'll be hearing from later on, who are eager to join the ranks of civic leaders. Great cities, great states, great nations are only as great as those who are willing to offer their leadership of our governments, businesses, and nonprofits. And now it's my pleasure to introduce this evening's moderator. Bob Butler is a KCBS reporter and the Vice President for Broadcast for the National Association of Black Journalists. Bob is also Vice President of the National Board of the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, as well as Chair of their EEO Committee. Would you welcome Bob Butler?
Thank you, Dr. Hyde. My role here tonight is to moderate the debate and also to give you the giant score. Top of the 5th, 3-2 Phillies. Well, it's still early. Because for the first time, we'll be using ranked choice voting, we thought we'd have a little primer on what that means and how it's going to affect the election. And to give us that primer, we're going to introduce to you Mr. Dave Macdonald, who is the Alameda County Registrar of Voters. Mr. Macdonald.
Well, good evening, everybody, and it's great to be here and talk about ranked choice voting. When I first started giving these presentations, nobody had ever heard of it. And by now, when I talk to a group like this, almost everyone in the room has some awareness of it. May not understand exactly how it works, but at least you've heard of it. So I'm going to, because we're a little short of time tonight, I'm going to zip through this pretty fast and just show you the basics of how to mark your ballot and how we're going to count the votes. And then hopefully there'll maybe be a little time for questions. So I'm going straight to how you mark your ballot. So now this is what a ballot might look like, and the first thing you notice is none of these candidates are in this contest. These are all, you may wish they were, but they are not on the ballot. So for the Oakland mayor's race, which of course everyone is interested in, there will be all 10 candidates listed in the first choice column, 10 candidates in the second choice column, and 10 candidates in the third choice column. Now, you as a voter, here's your responsibility, and this is the only thing you really need to remember that I talk about tonight. If you forget everything else, it's going to be okay. You just rank your choices 1, 2, and 3. So let's go ahead and mark that ballot and see what it looks like. I select my first choice. This is my favorite candidate, and that's Booker T. Washington. And then that's a popular choice. And then I select my second favorite candidate, and that is Diego Rivera. And then my third favorite candidate is Eleanor Roosevelt. That is what you have to do as a voter. Rank your choices 1, 2, and 3. Now, I can tell a lot of people right now are thinking, well, if I really like a candidate, shouldn't I vote for that candidate 3 times? 3 votes is better than 1. Well, that is not the case, and I'm going to show you why in just a minute. So that's how you mark your ballot. I think everybody get that. Nobody should be confused by that process. So let's go through, and I'm going to run a very simple mock election. I've got 3 candidates, candidate A, B, and C. There's a total of 12 votes cast in this contest. And in order for someone to win, you need the majority, which is 7 votes. That's 50% plus 1 vote. So let's go ahead and count our ballots. Our first ballot comes in. The only thing I'm counting in this first round are the first choice votes. So you can see in this case, candidate A gets the first choice vote, candidate B the second, candidate C the third. I'm only counting first choice. So in order to win in this first round, somebody would need 7 first choice votes. Okay, so let's go to the next one. And again, that's a first choice for candidate A. We're ignoring second and third choice in this round. There's the third vote. And there's 4 votes. 4 first choice votes for candidate A. Now we go to candidate B. And there again, there's the first choice for candidate B. I'm ignoring second and third in this round. 3, and those are 3 votes, 3 first choice votes for candidate B. Now we go to candidate C, counting just those first choice votes. There's 2, 3, and hopefully we get to 5. All right, perfect. So the math is right. Total of 12 votes, and 5 is leading at this point, but you need 7 to win, so we don't have a winner. Now here's where we go into what some people call the instant runoff part. Remember, if you're a resident of Oakland, back in 2006, you probably voted for Measure O, which authorized the city to do something called instant runoff voting. And this is where the instant runoff part comes in. We like to call it ranked choice voting because that's very descriptive of what the voter has to do. You rank your choices. So now, since we don't have a winner, we're going to determine a winner by using the runoff part. And remember, all I did was count those first choice votes. Nobody had the majority. So we eliminate the last place candidate. Whichever candidate came in last place, in this case it's candidate B, is eliminated from the contest. Everybody who voted for candidate B as their first choice is now going to have their second choice counted. Okay? So if you're a candidate, as soon as you come in last place, you're not accumulating any votes. So let's run through this and see how it works. So B is gone. He or she got the fewest number of votes. Everybody who voted for B is now going to have their second choice counted. So we're going to move that down to candidate C. We look at the next ballot, and that's candidate A. That goes up to A. And then the last one goes to candidate C. We count all those up again, and you can see what happened. Candidate C now has 7, candidate A has 5, and we have a winner. So that is ranked choice voting in a nutshell. Now, I know you had that question about what if I vote for the same candidate all 3 times? Well, let me back up and see what would happen. So let's go through my theoretical example. And let's say that I really liked candidate B, and I voted for B as my first, my second, and my third choice. Remember, all we're doing is counting those first choice votes. So candidate B still is eliminated in that first round. And so now I go and count my second choice. And if I voted for candidate B, who would I give that vote to? There's no place for it to go. So it doesn't hurt your candidate. It doesn't help your candidate. What it really says is you are not going to vote in a subsequent round if your candidate is eliminated. Likewise, if you only know one candidate, I get asked this a lot. There's only one candidate I know and like in the contest. Can I just vote for that candidate as my first choice? Yes, you can, and your vote will count. However, as soon as that candidate is eliminated, you no longer have a vote in the contest. Okay, so that's the way ranked choice voting works. What do you have to remember as a voter? Rank your choices 1, 2, and 3. Different candidate in each column. That really, from a voter standpoint, that's all you have to do. Now, the bad news is some of you may have heard or have already seen, a lot of you are vote-by-mail voters. If this group is averaged, about 50.5% of you are vote-by-mail voters. You've already received your ballots in the mail, and you may have noticed you got 3 ballot cards. It is a big, big ballot. A lot of state propositions, local measures, lots of candidates and races. So when you vote that ballot and you mail it back to us, you need to put extra postage, and that's 78 cents postage. And there's not much really we can do about that. Now, that's the bad news. The good news, don't tell anybody, but if you don't put the right postage on it, the post office will still deliver it to us, and we'll pay the postage. But we'll just keep that among ourselves, okay? So that's ranked choice voting in a nutshell. What do you have to do? Mark your ballot 1, 2, and 3. Do I have time for questions? I don't have time for questions. I got the hook. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.